Events in Washington have taken a violent and tumultuous turn in the past few hours.
Myanmar is back in the headlines because of scenes like these. The country is in turmoil after the military swept away the government.
Tonight in Tel Aviv, images that change everything in an escalation that has already spiraled so fast.
Good morning and welcome to KA News, live for the first time since 2016. The temperature outside is 13 degrees Celsius with slightly overcast skies. But right now we have global news with George. Over to you, George.
Julian Assange, the founder of WikiLeaks, is currently incarcerated in Belmarsh prison for 17 charges of espionage and 1 charge of computer misuse, after releasing thousands of classified documents detailing numerous war crimes committed by US forces in Iran from 2012 to 2019. Assange recently lost his extradition case against the American government and will soon be moved to the States to be placed in an American prison. The prosecution made 3 assurances Mr. Assange would not be subject to solitary confinement pre- or post-trial due to concerns around his alleged fragile mental state. He will not be detained at the ADX Florence Supermax jail, a maximum security prison in Colorado. Lawyers for the US said he would be allowed to transfer Australia to serve any prison sentence he may be given close to home. Prosecutors urged Mr. Assange's mental illness does not even come close to being severe enough to prevent him from being extradited. Mr. Assange suffered a stroke in December. No, please, I have a family. Please, no, please.
Check out Terry's Tailored Tarps for all your waterproofing needs. Use code KIA to get 2% off, not including shipping.
10 months have passed since Myanmar's military overthrew the country's elected government, and by now it's become apparent that arrests, executions, torture and financial pressures will not pacify a population unwilling to be ruled by generals. Myanmar was seized in February since the beginning of the coup. 1,300 civilians have been killed, including 75 children. The democratically elected leader has been jailed for incitement and allegedly breaking COVID restrictions, both of which are clearly bogus, given that her prosecutors have been gathering in crowds to cause conflict. The Myanmar army has been accused of human rights violations and war crimes, including indiscriminate airstrikes in Bangkok, Phat Lang City and Magway. In response to plummeting public opinion, the Myanmar military has begun a propaganda blitz playing on the deep-set Islamophobia found in the culture of the country. The military is claiming that their violent takeover is protecting the populace from the threat of a Muslim takeover, as well as asserting that the leader of the coup is the latest in a long line of honourable Buddhist warrior kings. Although I personally see nothing honourable about slaughtering civilians. No, please, no, no, please, no.
Here with us today we have Literal Child, who's recently topped the charts in both England and America with his hit new album, Snakes and Ladders. What can you tell us about that, Literal Child?
Hello, I'm Literal Child. Well, I tried very hard on this album. It took me a whole week. I had help from my mama and my dad. I'm very proud of this album. My mummy is very proud of this album. And my daddy is very proud of this album. He said it made him lots and lots of money. My mummy even said she'd put it on the fridge. I don't know how she'd do that. It's sound. Huh. How do you put sound on a fridge?
So I hear there are some interesting themes in the album. What can you tell us about that?
Yes, I can. I named the album Snakes and Ladders because I very much like the game Snakes and Ladders. It's my favorite game. I always win. I also made a song called Toy Soldiers, which is about my favorite toy, which is toy soldiers, like the ones out of Toy Story. They must be good if they're in Toy Story. Then there's I Never Win Monopoly, because I never win Monopoly. But the song is about how when I grow up, I will never be able to afford housing. And then there's Bulletproof Backpack, which is about when my mum got me a bulletproof backpack. It was very heavy. Why did she give me a bulletproof backpack? Oh! And then there's Timmy Found a Needle, which is about the time I went into the woods with my friend. His name is Timmy. And we went into the woods together, and we followed a trail of these little balloons. And they had like milk in them, but it was weird. And then we found a needle. And I went, Timmy, don't touch that needle. It's sharp. And I even went like, nuh-uh, don't touch it. Timmy still touched it, and his finger was bleeding. So I had to take him home because I am a responsible boy. And while I got home, he was like being sick everywhere. So my mummy took him to a place called the ICU, which I assume is like Disneyland on ice. It sounds very cold. I haven't seen Timmy since then. I hope he's okay. Maybe he's with Elsa.
That's very interesting. I hear there were some big stars, big names behind the album. Can you tell us about some of the people you worked with on the album?
Oh my god, yes. I have worked with a Marvel superhero. Because when I was away doing my magic and singing, a man came in and I went, who are you? And he went, I am Ghost Rider. The Ghost Rider from the comics. Yeah, he looked nothing like Nick Cage. But yeah, it was very cool and very fun, and he helped me out with my music. Although Ghost Star was scary, he was nice though.
That's very impressive. It's incredible that someone your age is able to produce an album this successful. Unfortunately, this is all the time we have for today. It was lovely meeting you, child.
Thank you. Have a good night. I'm gonna go to bed. It's very late, nearly my bedtime. Listen to my music. I make good music. Bye-bye.
Now back to the studio.
Recently, Russia has amassed 120,000 troops on the Ukrainian border, leading to a conference between President Joe Biden and Vladimir Putin. Very little came from the meeting, but Biden insisted that sending US troops to Ukraine to fend off a Russian invasion is not on the table, but still promised a strong American response to Russian President Vladimir Putin if such a military advance occurs. I made it very clear, if in fact he invaded Ukraine, there will be severe consequences. Biden told reporters there will be economic consequences like none he's ever seen or ever have been seen. Vladimir reportedly found the threat of economic sanction amusing. Some believe this build-up of troops to simply be a show of force from an expansionistic dictator, especially when Ukraine is trying to become part of the European Union, which is often at odds with Russian interests. It is currently unclear whether the troop build-up is probing the international reaction before a big-scale invasion or a PR stunt for Putin's nationalistic supporters. It is important to note that there will be a small-scale war between Russia and Ukraine over certain territories of what is internationally recognized as Ukraine, going on for almost a decade. Whatever happens, probability of war in Europe is higher than ever before. God save us all.
488 journalists are presently detained, 65 of which are being held hostage. 49 journalists have been killed since the beginning of 2021, 65% of which were considered to be deliberate government assassinations.
Welcome to your life. There's no turning back. Even while we sleep, we will find you acting on your best behavior. Turn your back on Mother Nature. Everybody wants to. It's my own design. It's my own remorse. Help me to decide. Help me make the most of freedom and of